Hello and welcome back to another jam-packed episode of Sports Beat on Heat. I'm your host Dylan Bauer, and today we'll be talking about our men's and women's soccer teams as well as our volleyball team with a special highlight reel featuring our volleyball team in action. We also have Dan Schaefer from the roller hockey team here in studio. It all starts right now. Before we dive into our discussions, we have Shannon Catarano here with our Week in Review. Shannon, take it away.
Thanks, Dylan, and here's your Week in Review. The Hofstra Field hockey team took 2 out of 3 games last week. On Sunday, October 2nd, we beat Quinnipiac University by a score of 3-2. A special congratulations to Marin Samper, who became the 3rd Pride player in school history to score 50 career goals. On Friday, October 7th, we played Towson University 3-0. After 2 wins in a row, Hofstra lost at the University of Delaware 2-7 last Sunday. The volleyball team had a great week, winning all 4 games. Here at home on October 2nd, the volleyball team beat the College of William & Mary 3-1. The Pride volleyball team continued their success on Saturday, October 8th, knocking off the University of Delaware in straight sets 3-0. Senior Hannah Clem is now in 8th place all-time in CAA history, with 4,082 career assists. They closed out their last win of the week on Sunday, the 9th, beating out Ellen University in straight sets once again 3-0. Let's move on to women's soccer, where they took only 1 out of 3 games. The Pride lost on the road to UNCW 1-4, then bounced back here at home, taking a 3-1 victory against Ellen University on Friday, October 7th. Then on Sunday the 9th, lost to the College of William & Mary to the score of 0-1. The men's soccer team lost 0-1 against the University of Virginia on October 4th. Then on Saturday, October 8th, the men's soccer team was successful in edging out the College of William & Mary by the score of 2-1. The softball team played a doubleheader on Saturday, October 8th, at the Bill Edwards Stadium in Garden City. In the first game, the Pride tied Seton Hall University 2-2 and beat Iona College 4-1. The men's tennis team goes undefeated 4-0 on the first day at the Fordham Quad, October 8th. The contest on Sunday, October 9th, was unfortunately canceled due to the rain. Mahala Gifhand leads Hofstra Women's Cross Country to sweep of 3 duels at the NJIT Challenge on Saturday, October 8th. On the men's side, we took 2 of 3 matches, winning the NJIT Challenge and beating St. Peter's University while dropping a contest to Wagner College. To men's golf, on October 3rd, Johnson Co. from the men's golf team shot a 69-1 under par to win the individual medalist honor. Congratulations to our Hofstra Pride teams. This has been your Week in Review. I'm Shannon Catarano. Back to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Shannon. Our men's soccer team defeating Drexel tonight by a final score of 4-1. Hofstra now 6-0 in CAA play. I bring on my panelists now. And guys, this team, they're really cooking right now.
Yeah, right now undefeated in the conference, Dylan. I mean, you look at their non-conference slate, very difficult run of things. But then in the conference, I mean, they're the top team in the CAA right now, the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean, this team, like I said, they're 6-0. Undefeated, have yet to lose in the CAA play. They started out a little bit struggling at the beginning of the season, not doing very good in non-conference play, but once conference play kicked in, things changed. What happened?
Well, it was just a big turnaround. Yeah, like you said, 5-0 conference play, 4-0 on home turf. What I'd say happened with this offense is really what started on the defense. I mean, they're 7-2-1 when they allow just 1 goal. Both times the opponent has scored 2 or more goals, they've lost. So this is truly about the defense, is what the defense turns into offense.
Yeah, I really think the defense has really been shining for this team. The offense as well, they have a lot of offensive distribution. You look at guys like Elliott, like Brown, like Eshanati, they just have a lot of offensive weapons, and with a defense that's doing as well as it has, there's really no way that this team can be beaten, it seems.
Yeah, now that you mention it, let's talk a little bit about that defense. You have Harry Hawkins, Nino Alfonso, Sean Nealis, Rory Murphy. So you have 4 solid, mature people on that back line. What's been their role so far this year?
I'd say the leadership right now, the defense is completely taken over. Yeah, Harry Hawkins, great player, and the rest of them are just surrounding him. Without this great defense, it puts a lot of stress on the defenders. So it's great that these guys are stepping up at the right time.
The way that this defense has been performing, it's been really helping the goalkeeper situation. Coming into this season, the goalkeeper situation is really the main concern for this team. Losing Patrick Prey, coming in with 2 kind of unknowns in Alex Ashton and Leo Arkanhelski. But with the defense, it's really allowed these guys to kind of ease into the transition and have great seasons along with the rest of the defense.
Yeah, something we've seen, especially of late. You mentioned Arkanhelski. Leo Arkanhelski was the starter there at the beginning of the season, but lately it's Alex Ashton getting all the starts for Hofstra the past 4 games. What's your thoughts on that?
I thought it was really interesting to see them after the way Arkanhelski was really succeeding. They took him out of the role and put Ashton back in. Ashton had some bouts with injury earlier in the season, but it was still interesting to me to see the way that they transitioned. They still weren't afraid to make the change. I think that really speaks to Coach Nuttall and the trust that he has in his sophomore.
Yeah, no, I understood the move. In the past 3 games before tonight, Ashton had 15 saves in the last 8 games. And he faced 12 more shots than Arkanhelski, so he's been facing more shots, he had more saves, and I see it as going with the hot hand going forward, and I think it's been good.
Yeah, so now we're going to look forward here. Hofstra, they have 4 games remaining on their schedule, 2 conference games, 2 non-conference games. What do you expect to see the team doing in this game? Do they change things up, try fixing things before they end up going to the playoffs?
I really think they'll just keep going with the way they're going. I'd be surprised if they really mess with things too much. You don't want to mess with the chemistry and the way that things are rolling while it's succeeding. And I think that right now they really have proven they're the best team in the conference. They have the best record. They really are the team to beat. And I think that the way they've been playing, they have a good chance of going undefeated, Dylan.
Well, this men's soccer team, their next game will be this weekend when they face UNCW. From the men's team to the women's team. Now, this women's team, just not the same thing going for them. They've lost this weekend to William & Mary, 1-0. What's going wrong?
I really think we've seen the way that the loss of Leah Galton last season has been affecting this team on the offensive end. The defense is definitely there. The goalkeeping situation has been really good for this Hofstra Pride women's soccer team. But you look at offense, they just don't have the kind of options that they'd like to have. They have Jill Mulholland, they have Kristen Desmond, they have Noriana Radwan, but outside of those 3, they really haven't been getting a whole lot of offensive production, and that's what's been sinking this team.
Yeah, production, comes from how hard you play, how bad you want it. The intensity has been off. In the first half, Hofstra's put up 122 shots. In the second half, it goes down to 105. That's almost 20. The opponent's shots in the first half, 93. In the second half, it goes up to 121. That's letting it down. And you just can't expect your goalkeeper to make all these saves when they're just getting across the back line.
Yeah. Anders, you brought up about Jill Mulholland, Kristen Desmond. Kristen Desmond making that move from defense to the forward position this year. So you have them. And then you also have Noriana Radwan, who's there. So you have kind of a 3 there. But what other players, who's that other missing piece that needs to start stepping up?
Well, I think the thing you look at with those 3 players, none of those, as you just mentioned, are really accustomed to being major scorers for this team. Jill Mulholland, a midfielder, Kristen Desmond, former defender, Noriana Radwan, a transfer. So none of these players are used to being really a main scorer in this system. I think what they really need is some forward player to break out for this team and really allow them to have an extra spark. They need kind of one of those bench players to really come out there and really ease the load off of these other 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mulholland has definitely been carrying the load. She scored or assisted on 4 of the 5 points that this team has. And who I look at needs to step up is Noriana Radwan. She needs to take more shots. In the previous 6 games before CAA, she took 20 shots. The team was 4-1-1. And since the CAA started, she's only took 7 shots. The team is 1-5. You see a direct reflection off of that. And I think she definitely needs to take more shots, be more aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, this team as a whole, they're getting some shots on goal. Part of the problem is they just aren't finishing. What needs to happen there? Are they just not getting the ball to the right position, or are the defenses that good that they're locking them down?
Well, you look at that William & Mary game, and it really came down to a last-second corner kick decision, a call that was kind of controversial in the end. And really, when I talked to Coach Simon Ridioff earlier today, he mentioned that a lot of it's just been one call goes the wrong way, and that really ends up being the game for this team. So it's really just they need to get the right goals in late game situations. and it's just not been falling for them. So, and that's really been sinking them. You take a couple of losses in the conference like that, and all of a sudden you're in bad shape.
Yeah, goals just aren't coming right now, and I think eventually they will come. It's about who gets the shots. And like I said, I think Noriana Rodwan needs to take more shots, and eventually they'll start going in.
Yeah. Now, I mean, we look at the other end, the goalie end for Hofstra. Just like the men's team, they have their own goalie switch shots that happen. For the women's team, Ashley Wilson, she's getting all the starts, but she comes out of the game, and in comes Fredrika Mering. She steps up. What's your opinions on that? Is that a good strategy?
I think it's really interesting, and it kind of speaks to the fact that they've both been doing so well. I mean, you look by the stats, they have pretty much the same goals allowed per contest. They have about the same save percentage. They really are very similar goalkeepers. And I think the way that they've been switching them out really helps matchup-wise, because a lot of other teams don't expect that kind of thing. They don't play a lot of teams that have goalkeepers that switch up like that. So it really helps Hofstra, gives them an advantage, and allows them to rest their players. And so players like Ashley Wilson, she knows that if she has kind of a bad first half, that someone else is going to come in and ease that load off for her.
Yeah, the Hofstra women's soccer team, they'll next be in action this weekend as they face Northeastern at Hofstra Soccer Stadium. Now, our volleyball team, busy week. They had 3 games in 4 days. It's finally time for them to get some rest.
Yeah, they really have been doing very well at home, Dylan, especially. They're undefeated here at home, even though they've had 2 different facilities to play in. They played in the fitness center first, now they're back in the PEC, but they've adjusted perfectly to it. And really, you've seen on the road, they lost 2 matches on the road most recently, but then they beat a lot of teams here at home, including 3-0 against James Madison, a very good team. So it really speaks to kind of the home court advantage that this team has had.
Yeah, they're at home now. They got some rest, but, you know, who needs rest? 5 straight wins, 9 straight sets. I mean, they've been playing amazing, but no, they do need a rest, and it's only going to let them recharge and be ready to go for this next run.
All right, now I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First, who is the best major impact on the season so far this season? Who's the top upperclassman and underclassmen?
I think underclassmen is easy. I think it's Laura Mashulo, because you look at the way that she came into this system, and she wasn't really expected to be the main scorer on this team, but she has the most kills on this team, a very veteran team, a lot of outside hitters, a very deep team as well, but she's been doing a really good job of being a leader there as a freshman. And I think when you look at the upperclassmen, it's got to be Veronica Kostova.
Yeah, I'll actually go with Rukli. I think she's been stepping up big time. When you look at attack percentage, 388, that's the highest on the team. It's really good. And as far as upperclassmen, yeah, you got to go with Kostova. She just reached 1,000 career kills, one of the only players in Hofstra history to do that, so it's amazing what she's doing.
Yeah, Mashulo also receiving CAA Rookie of the Week this season. Now, we all talk good about this Hofstra volleyball team, and you mentioned about the seniors may not be there. Are there any concerns?
I don't think there's any concerns with this team. I think that the fact that they have such distribution in terms of classmanship, and the fact that a freshman isn't afraid to become the leader of this team offensively speaks a lot to the team in general and the team chemistry. I mean, they have a lot of freshmen. They have a lot of transfer students who are just coming into this team for the first time. And to see them really come together and act like they've been playing together for a decade or so, I mean, that's really terrific.
Yeah, I mean, they're halfway through the season now. So what do you have to keep doing? You have a lot of momentum. What do they keep doing for the second half of the season?
They definitely they gotta keep attacking at a high percentage. Every time they attack over 200%, they're 5-0. So they just gotta keep doing that. They've won the sets 15-2 in which they've done that.
I think the biggest thing is to see if they translate this onto road matches as well. Obviously, we've seen what they can do here at home, but you got to get road match wins, because the tournament might not be here at Hofstra, and if they play on the road in the tournament, they're going to have to get some wins.
Yeah, now Hofstra's 5-2 in CAA play, so they're doing really well. However, Northeastern's doing even better. They're at the top of the standings, 6-1. They have them this weekend. What do you expect out of that matchup?
I think it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure, and I think that's going to be kind of the marquee matchup when you look at these 2 squads. I mean, they are the top of the conference. This will really speak to how serious Hofstra is. Yeah. Is Hofstra just kind of a streaky team, or are they for real? And that'll really tell you in this upcoming match.
Yeah, well, the volleyball team, their next matchup will be Saturday, as I mentioned, at Boston against Northeastern. Now, let's take a quick look at some highlights from last weekend's volleyball game against Delaware. And then we will be back with our own Tiffany Velas and Hofstra roller hockey player Dan Schaefer.
girls only have a couple of games left in the season, so make sure to check them out. Now with me on the other side of the studio, I'm Tiffany Velas, and have with me today Dan Schaefer from our roller hockey team. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
So now that you've had a couple exhibition games under your belt, talk about the opening of the season.
You know, we missed a couple guys for preseason this past weekend. We were out in Pennsylvania, but I think with a full squad, a couple of those games were only a couple goal losses, so we'll definitely turn it around, be in those games next time.
Talk a little bit about the combination of both youth and experience on your team this season.
So we definitely have a lot of returning players. We have a lot of guys who are stepping up and have to take the next step, play a bigger role on the team. You know, we have Nigel Grove. He's, you know, I'm a senior. He's a junior. He just got named captain, so he's going to be a big player for us. He has a feel for the division now, Division I. So I think really with the experience, we're going to get some wins this year.
So you mentioned Division I. There's kind of a separation between Division I and Division III, which you said used to be called the B division.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that separation.
So basically, players start out in B. I started out my freshman and sophomore years. I was on the B division team. And you kind of just get a feel for the game. I played ice hockey in high school, and I only played outdoor roller hockey leagues which are 5-on-5. So making the transition to 4-on-4 can be really tough sometimes. So the B division really does a good job of teaching players how to play the game and get them ready. So, you know, last year I played Division I for the first time, and this year I'm taking a bigger role. So it's definitely a good teaching tool.
So I'm assuming that most of the players on the B division, they've played before. They kind of come in and that just
Yeah, I
opens it up
mean,
for them?
we have a whole different skill level spectrum. So we have some guys that come in and have played, you know, high school roller hockey, which is, you know, they know how to play. But there are some guys that come in and have never played roller hockey before, and they really tend to pick it up quickly.
So talk about the first three exhibition losses for the at least Division I. It was against, first was Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Robert Morris. You're going to face off against Rhode Island once again. So talk a little bit about how you prepare against a team that you've already faced.
Well, you know, UMass and Robert Morris came up from D2. They were the two finalists for regionals in D2 last year. UMass went on to win nationals, so they're definitely they're formidable opponents. But it's, you know, it's good because going into that weekend we had never played them before. Just, you know, aside from seeing them around the rink, we didn't know what to expect. Now we have a feel for how they play. You know, we can definitely match up with them better next time.
So your first regular season matchup, that's coming up on Friday. What is the expectation in that one?
Expectation is go out and get the W. You know, we're not going to outskill teams. We don't really have that, but if we outwork teams, we play physical, we should definitely come away with the win.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Dan, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with everyone's favorite part of the show, FaceTimes. Don't go away. Sports Beat will be right back here on The Heat.
When I was 6, I had one thing on my mind. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball every chance I could. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke, F-A-S-T, fast.
Welcome back. Before we jump right into those FaceTimes, here's Shannon Catarano again to fill us in on Hofstra's week ahead in sports. What do we have to look forward to this weekend, Shannon?
The week ahead for Hofstra Sports is jam-packed. On Friday, October 14th, our field hockey team is up against Northeastern University right here at the Hofstra Field Hockey Stadium at 3 p.m. October 10th. It is a very busy Saturday for Hofstra Sports. The men and women's cross-country team will be competing at Princeton University Invitational starting at 9 o'clock a.m. The men's tennis team will be in Fairfield, Connecticut at 10 a.m. taking on Sacred Heart University. The softball team will be playing another doubleheader this weekend, but this time will be playing against Wagner College and Malloy College here at the Bill Edwards Stadium. The first time starts at 11 a.m. The volleyball team is at Northeastern University starting at 4 o'clock p.m. in Boston, Massachusetts. The women's soccer team is also playing Northeastern University at the Hofstra Soccer Stadium. The men's soccer team is on the road at UNC Wilmington in North Carolina. The game starts at 7 o'clock p.m. On Sunday, October 16th, the women's tennis team will be away in Fairfield, Connecticut, taking on Sacred Heart University and Fairfield University. Matches starting at 10 a.m. On the men's side of tennis, we'll also be playing at Fairfield University later in the day at 2 p.m. On Thursday, October 20th, the women's tennis team will be playing at the ITA Regionals. This is an all-day event starting at 9 a.m. in New Haven, Connecticut. Good luck to all of our Pride athletes for their upcoming events this week. This has been your week ahead. I'm Shannon Catarano. Back to you, Dylan.
Thank you, Shannon. Now it is that time for FaceTimes. And to start us off this week, we have Anders Jorstad. Take it away, Anders.
The Cleveland Indians advanced to the American League Championship Series with a 4-3 win over the Boston Red Sox on Monday. With the win, the Indians give Cleveland a chance for something it hasn't had in almost 70 years. 2 major professional sports titles in the same calendar year. The Cavaliers' NBA title over the Golden State Warriors in June marked the first time since 1964 the city had won any championship in the 4 major sports. Now, 2016 has a chance to serve as a banner year for Cleveland sports. Only 6 other cities have had such an honor. Should the Indians defeat the San Francisco Giants in the World Series, both titles will have come against Bay Area squads as well. And while it may not have grabbed the ESPN headlines, Cleveland already won a 2nd professional sports title in 2016, earlier this year, even if it wasn't a Big 4 sport. That also happened in June when the Cleveland Monsters of the American Hockey League won the Calder Cup for the first time in the franchise's history. When it comes to the Indians, the road to the World Series crown won't be easy. Cleveland's ALCS opponent, the Toronto Blue Jays, haven't won an American League pennant in 26 years, making this a historic series regardless of the victor.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, I know. Might not sound so good up here in New York, but hey, it's America's team. Somebody's got to talk about them. A 4-1 start, sitting atop of the NFC East, all without the starting quarterback Tony Romo, quite impressive. Yeah, we all heard the excuses after the first 4 weeks before this past Sunday. The Cowboys haven't played a good team yet. Ezekiel Elliott won't have the success he's having against a good run defense. They haven't had to defend a good offense yet. Well, let's see if we can check those off after we review Sunday's game against the high-powered, top 10 ranked Cincinnati Bengals team. The Cowboys dominated the Bengals with an emphatic win with a score of 28-14. Check that one off. Elliott happened to have the first rushing touchdown scored against that top 10 Bengals defense with 2 of them and 134 yards to go along with it. Check the second one off. Finally, Bengals top receiver A.J. Green, who leads the NFL in receiving yards, was held to just 4 catches for 50 yards. Check. Any other excuses going forward? ESPN have moved the Cowboys up the power rankings to number 7 after this dominant display. With this momentum moving forward, the Cowboys might be facing a dilemma with who will be starting at quarterback when Tony Romo is finally cleared to play. Backup Dak Prescott has been playing incredibly well, and they don't want to mess it what the team has going. However, Romo's experience as well as his wider arsenal could be vital as this team approaches the playoffs. Having to choose between 2 potent quarterbacks is a problem many teams would love to have. And as fans, we'll just sit back and appreciate whatever decision is made as we all grin or possibly frown to the idea that America's team is back.
2016 has been a year where we have lost many great athletes, both on and off the field. From the retirements of Kobe Bryant and Peyton Manning to the recent passings of Muhammad Ali and Arnold Palmer. It has been a trip down memory lane for sports fans. But this week, another great has said his goodbyes to the game he played and loved with so much passion. That man is David Ortiz. Now, I am not a Red Sox fan. I'm far from it. But I am a fan of any player who makes the game fun to watch. And that is exactly what Ortiz has done. Athletes make this special ability to make an impact on the city they play in off the field. And no one meant more to the city of Boston than Ortiz. You may not like the Red Sox, but you can respect everything Big Papi has done for the game and the community. Now, as far as the Hall of Fame goes, you can make the argument that DHs don't belong in the Hall because they only play half the game. However, Ortiz was more than a DH. He was a leader. He changed the character in the clubhouse. His personality was unique to the game. You add in that Ortiz finished his career at 541 home runs and a .286 batting average, and he was also a 3-time World Series champion. And you got a really good case. And in those 3 World Series, not only was Ortiz on the team, he was pretty much the team. When Ortiz was in a tough situation, he always battled back. And that's just another reason this man meant so much. Ortiz will one day make it into the Hall of Fame, but now it's time to tip our caps and turn a page. A new generation is upon us. We will begin to look up to new faces, not just in baseball, but in sports across the board. Now is when new legends will be born. So who's going to step on up to the plate? Now, guys, it's October, and you can't go on a sports show without talking playoff baseball. So far we've had the 2 American League series both ended in sweeps in the first round. Any surprises?
I think it's interesting that both Cleveland and Toronto are the 2 representing the American League. Not usually the 2 you see there.
Oh, no.
And especially when you look on the National League side, the Giants already knocked out of it. So you can stop with that even year kind of talk with the Giants winning every even year World Series so far. But it's going to be an interesting playoff hunt so far, as we got those 2 teams. You got you got Chicago as well, and still Nationals and Dodgers going to a Game 5.
Yeah, pretty surprised. The Texas Rangers getting sweep. Come on, man. You know, being from Texas, that's hard to see. But, you know, also them having the top record in the American League, so it's tough. But we'll see what happens.
I mean, you know, you can do everything right in the regular season, but once that playoffs comes, 3 games. It only took 3 games, and they were out. So, I mean, as I mentioned about David Ortiz, he's done. He's retired. He said that. What does he mean to you guys?
I think that really what he means to baseball in terms of designated hitter really goes beyond even what Edgar Martinez did as my idol as a Mariners fan. Edgar Martinez meant a lot to the game, but David Ortiz, he brought championships, he brought passion. You could really tell he loved the game, and he brought a huge fandom with him as well. It didn't hurt that he was from the Boston area, a big media market. So I think it really allowed the DH to thrive, and I think that he might be the first DH to get into the Hall of Fame, and that kind of might lead the road for others.
Yeah. Now, I just want to ask, you know, Anders, you pointed out the Giants, they're out of it, so you don't have to worry about them. So it's an easy cross off the list now because they're tempting to pick in an even year.
Right.
But who do you guys got winning the World Series this year?
I got the Cubs, a young team.
Yeah.
They look good. They look fresh. They're ready to go.
I'm going to go with the Indians. I think it'd be cool, like I said in my FaceTime, I think it'd be cool to see the Indians and give Cleveland a second Major 4 sports title in the same season. I think they definitely have the pitching, the offense too. They just have the clutch play, and you saw that against the Texas Rangers, that they just didn't give up, and they really poured it on against the Rangers in a couple of those games.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game tonight, the National Dodgers. I think very well that whoever wins that is a very competitive team with the Cubs. But I mean, just in general, these are 4-5 teams right now that aren't usually in it at this point. So it's very impressive to see at this point. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks from now. You won't want to miss it. It's our Spooky Sports Beat here on Heat. Have a good night, Hofstra. Just take the page. Just fire. Good. The one that's open.